Hi, and welcome back to the Positive Prepper. I want to talk today about the situation that we're in right now. I titled this video Conflict Creation because I firmly believe that everything that's going on right now was created purposefully for reasons that I'm sure many of us understand. So what would you say if I told you that your race is an eligibility factor for getting antibody therapy for C19? And race was also the reason that essential workers got the snake bite before a lot of other people, including the elderly. What would you say if I told you that in Scotland, Washington State, and probably other places, facilities either are or will be used for anyone with C19 or suspected of having it or suspected of being exposed to it? Or that in places like Minneapolis, Minnesota, and France, and Washington, D.C., you cannot enter a lot of businesses without three things: your card, your photo ID, and a mask. Or that these facilities are being used as a solution to a problem that was created on purpose. These mandates and race-based health care protocols are being used to alienate and condemn certain groups of people and to continue discontent and division among us. We are being kept in a constant state of chaos. The rules keep changing. Media's projecting narratives that are at odds with certain scientists out there, and Big Brother is whittling down constitutional freedom and belief systems through an unbelievable amount of never-ending propaganda. Every channel of news keeps a COVID ticker, right? It tells you how many people have tested positive. But it's never broken down into how many of those positives were false positives, or, you know, if you have to get tested twice a week or whatever, and it's the same person, and that person's testing positive twice in that week, it's counted twice, right? It also doesn't show how many actually got sick, how many actually got sick enough to go to the hospital, and how many actually died from it versus with it. Too many people are engaging in behaviors that separate themselves from others. They give up their values and beliefs for the lie that is the greater good. The reality is, if you want to create a world that you believe we all deserve, then you have to have actions and make sacrifices that bring people together, not that create more division and more alienation. And I just don't see that unity coming from those in power. In one of the last videos that I did, the stage has been set. I can't think of a more divisive speech than what was given. on January 6th. That is not creating unity. It is a constant wedge that's being driven deeper and deeper. And if you support that kind of a dialogue that separates people, then you also continue to be part of the problem. I'm going to take a guess and say that most of the people that are watching this video are not those people. I don't believe that we are the ones creating this division. I really don't. I get chided a lot for saying that we are heading quickly towards communism. But I firmly believe that the divide and conquer strategy is why things have happened in our world's and in our nation's history. I believe we are fast getting to a point where we are going to have to show our papers to get essential resources to live. So right now, restaurants are not essential, at least in my world. Theaters, not essential. You know, as far as I know, you can still go to get groceries. But there are some, again, hospitals and doctors that won't see anybody. You cannot get health care without either the snake bite or showing papers. But I think we're fast getting to that point where we're going to have to show our papers to get essential resources. Where any discussions that go against the government will be grounds for arrest, and where it will be comply or die. Now, I know that sounds really melodramatic. I get it. Oh my gosh, we're never going to get there, right? Well, who in a million years would have thought that we'd be at the point where we are right now, where our shelves are empty? You know, my husband and I went shopping this morning for groceries, and I have, through all of this, even back in March of 2020, I didn't see the shelves looking as bad as they did today. And so, you know, who would have thought that we would be living in such a, you know, people say, well, you know, we went through the Great Depression, and who would have thought that the stock market would crash, and, you know, or the Dust Bowl, or, you know, the potato famine in Ireland, or, you know, there's all of these events that have happened. Okay? But I don't believe that ever in our history that things have been so blatantly caused, blatantly made worse, and then blatantly come in with the solution. And in every step of that, there is absolutely zero tolerance for anybody that thinks outside of that. And I mean, if I'm wrong on that, please put that in the comments below, or email me, positiveprepper@gmail.com. I don't know of another time in our history where this was perpetuated to the speed and the extent that it has been. So this, again, this might sound really dramatic, and, you know, it's definitely not, I'm not fear-mongering, I'm just saying this is what I'm seeing. And so there's a movie on YouTube. If you haven't seen it already, I really highly encourage you to watch it. It's called Amerigeddon, And I will put the title of it down in the links below, or in the description. Really good movie to watch. And I don't want to give too much away, but it's basically about this family that comes together after an EMP is set off and shuts off the entire country's power and communications. So, really good movie, really, in a lot of ways, honest about the way that things could happen. But there's one spot in it that I really shook my head at. The group in this movie, that's highlighted in this movie, did not start prepping together as a group until it was almost too late. I mean, like, they legitly had a specific group, and I don't want to give too much away, but they had a specific group that they knew was going to be coming to their location. And it was only then that they sat down and made out their preparedness plan, their defense strategies, all of that. So that's why we do these videos. And we spend, so much time researching and taking notes and listening and having dialogue with people with the same point of view, but also people from a different perspective. You know, to try to get a really good pulled back lens view of what's going on. So we don't want you to wait until it's either too late or almost too late to be able to take care of and defend yourself and your loved ones. That's why we are so kind of forceful, I guess, about prepping, because it is important and it will matter. And then we also give constant reminders that while we want peace and unity, that's what we want. We want all of this to be for nothing. But there are some things worth fighting for and dying for that we are on the brink of losing. We can live separately and keep a nation divided, or we can get out in the schoolyard, duke it out, and shake hands afterwards. Is that possible? Are we past that point? I don't know. My Almighty God gave us scriptures to empower us, to challenge us, to make us worthy and deserving of His unending grace and mercy. He also gave us free will to make choices from the opportunities and challenges that we are faced with. I believe with all of this, with the constant conflict that's being created and the ever deepening racial divides, the mandates that are coming in and being more dramatic and more drastic, I believe that that moment is fast approaching. Are you ready? Something to think about. God bless.